Hello, Ridgeview families. I am Mrs. Richardson. I am the principal at Ridgeview Junior High. Thank you for joining us tonight as we go through some of our protocols and things that we have in place for our students this year, helping them get acquainted, especially our 7th graders who are going to be new to the building and any other new students that we have. We are going to be here to answer some questions as we get through our agenda here. So if you have a question and you are looking at our agenda, you will see kind of how we're going to go through our process here today. So just be mindful that as we go through this, we may be answering your questions later on in the presentation, but we will hold time at the end to answer some questions as best as we can. Some questions we may not be able to put on here and answer right away, but we will make sure that we get your contact information so that we can get you the updated information. So again, I'm Mrs. Richardson. I am going to be the principal here at Ridgeview this year. I served as the lead assistant principal for the last 3 years at Ridgeview. So if you're a returning student, you may remember me. If you have a new student who has an older sibling that has gone through Ridgeview, I am very excited to stay at Ridgeview and continue the journey with our students. So I am going to go ahead and let Mr. Smith talk.
Good evening. So my name is Mr. Smith. I am one of the assistant principals at Ridgeview. I am also an assistant principal at Lakeview. So I will be at Ridgeview some of the days, and I will be at Lakeview some other days. I did serve in the same capacity last year, so I got to know many of our families there at Ridgeview last year, and I'm excited to have students coming back in the building. It's been great to be able to see the teachers in the building and working with them as they are very busy. They've been very busy making plans and working together to make sure that we have the best situation for everybody. And now, the missing piece is our students, and so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys come in. Mr. Steele was not able to be here this evening, so I'm going to go ahead, and he has a video introduction of himself.
Hello everyone, I am Chris Steele. I am the assistant principal here at Ridgeview Junior High School. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it tonight. I had a family emergency that I was unable to attend tonight. But I'm so excited to see your smiling faces and all of our students at Ridgeview Junior High and reconnect with some of our Tollgate students who I haven't seen since March. We are ready for you, here to help you, and please let us know if there's anything we can do. Go Tigers.
Moving along, parents, as you start to navigate our Ridgeview website through PLSD, we have put information up, in regards to this Parent Information Hub. This Parent Information Hub has links to some of the videos that we have already sent out through our Infinite Campus Messenger and on our SMORE, our newsletter. So please, if you have not done so already, please log into your parent portal and update your information because the email address that you put into Infinite Campus is how we do the majority of our communication. So that would be essential for you to be able to get those weekly updates that come on Friday. The other thing that we have is we have social media pages. We have a Facebook page, and we also have Twitter accounts. I have a Twitter account. Mr. Smith, Mr. Steele all have a Twitter account, and then there is a Ridgeview school account as well. So if you have a Twitter, please follow us all because we will be sending out information that way as well. As you can see, Mr. Smith is scrolling through this back to school information. This is located on our webpage under the Ridgeview's back to school information where we had linked the school supplies. You will find this. You'll actually find one of the presentations that we are getting ready to go through that has video links embedded in it. So please, when we get to that, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of looking through that. This page also at the very, very bottom has some information regarding our teams. Teachers are reaching out to students through email. You may get some Infinite Campus messages. They are in the process of either creating Google Classrooms or websites. Here we have linked some of the team's websites where they actually have their welcome message for their students. If you do not know what team your student is on, it is written in the lunch section of their schedule. On this document here is how to go through and navigate your schedule. So make sure that you check that out, and then you can see all of the welcome messages from our teachers. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
We also have linked in our presentation the parent university information that the district has put together. And so if you go to the district's website, you can find the parent university, and there's information on navigating Google Classroom, which is what our students at the junior high will use. There's also some Google resources for students K-12. There's information on ClassLink and Chromebooks. iPads are at the lower grade levels, so you can skip that section. There's also information in here about iReady, which our students will have for supporting their needs in reading and math, in addition to what their teachers do on a daily basis. And we're excited to be adding some Newsela resources for our science this year. And so there's a lot of helpful information there on how to navigate those. And so you can help your students through or maybe see how the programs work, so that is you're working with your students at home on maybe a virtual day or in the evening, you have a resource to go to help them if they're getting stuck. So this presentation here is actually going to be linked on the parent information page that we showed you already. So you'll be able to access this. It's also going to be sent out to our students through their Paul time. So this is really helpful information designed around what we've been doing to prepare and to make sure that our students are safe and there are safe practices inside the building. So we're going to go through this with you now. Like Mrs. Richardson said, there's some videos in here that we are going to skip just because we want to be cognizant of your time and make sure that we have an opportunity to answer your questions. So I do want to highlight a few things here. Some of this information in this presentation is really helpful. There was information on hand washing strategies and procedures that I was not aware of prior to watching it. So we really want to focus in on how we're keeping not just our students safe, but our staff safe, but also you. We want to make sure that our whole community, and that includes you, that we're keeping you safe and doing everything we can to make sure that our schools stay open and available for our students. So I know one of the questions that we have been seeing and we've been hearing a lot is, how are students who maybe exhibit some symptoms going to be treated at school? And so we just want to talk through a couple of terms that you're going to hear. One of them is the well clinic term, and the other one, it would be a triage room. And so depending on what a student's needs are, would determine where they go. And so our students that have maybe some daily medications or some diabetic needs, or maybe they need some contact solution, those types of things would go to our regular clinic. And we've really worked hard. Our school nurses have done a great job of providing kits so that a lot of things like Band-Aids or something like that can be handled right in the classroom, and students wouldn't have to leave to go down to the clinic. But if a student were to have some symptoms that or isn't feeling well, and we're not sure if they have symptoms that would be COVID related, those students will be reporting to a different room, and they'll be met by our school nurse or our school health aide, where they can be assessed right there by medical staff that has a little bit more in-depth training. They will make the determination, they'll help us make the determination on whether or not the student is experiencing allergy-related symptoms or whether it's something else maybe that we're not sure of. And so at that point, the school nurse is going to be involved, and they'll determine if a student can return to class or if they're going to quarantine the student until we can notify the parents and have the parents come and pick the student up. And Mrs. Richardson, I'm going to make an adjustment here.
Okay.
If you want to get ready to start, if you want to share some information about masks, I'll get everything else set up.
Sure. One of the things that we also wanted to make clear is that the nurses have set up a series of videos for parents and students to watch. One of those is specifically in regards to screening at home for COVID symptoms. So parents, we need your help here. We are asking, it is an expectation by the district that you screen your students before coming to school. So that means taking their temperature and making sure that they do not run a fever, and that they are not given fever reducing medication if they have a mild fever. They do need to stay home if they are not feeling well. This is for the safety of everyone. And so we are asking that you make sure that you watch the video in regards to the symptoms for screening your student. And I think we are getting ready to play that now.
Hey, Benny, before I get you on the bus this morning, we need to go through our COVID symptoms checklist, okay? And make sure that you don't have any symptoms before you go to school. So the first thing I need to do is check your temperature. 98.1. That's great. Your temperature is less than 100 degrees, so you're perfect there. Let me ask you a few questions. Do you have sore throat this morning? No. Great, no sore throat. How did breakfast taste? Were you able to smell the bacon I was cooking? Mm-hmm. Okay. And how did the orange juice taste? Good. Nice and sweet? Yeah, good. Okay. You have any chills? You feel like you're chilling at all? No. Good. All right. Any severe headache? Have a headache at all? No headache. Great. All right. Have you been coughing? No. No cough. I have not heard you cough this morning, so that's great. Any diarrhea? No. You would tell me about that. How about any vomiting? Did you throw up? No. Oh, good. And how about any stomach or abdominal pains? Stomach hurt at all? No. No. Great. And so you said no fever, no severe headache. Now, going down here to section 2, just going to ask you a couple questions. Have you been around?
Did we freeze? I think we lost the sound on the rest of that video, but she's asking if he's been around anyone who has experienced any COVID-related symptoms. So to kind of finish up the checklist. If students are answering no to all of those questions, then we would say go ahead and send them to school. So remember that we are in cohorts. So you will either be going to school cohort A Monday, Tuesday, and then accessing your virtual material Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or you're in cohort B where you will be accessing your virtual equipment, or oh my gosh, your virtual education on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then face-to-face on Thursday, Friday. So
we do want to stress, because this is a different mindset. It really is. We are used to even telling ourselves, as well as our kids, hey, let's see if you can power through, or see if you can make it, and if things get worse, I'll come get you. For the safety of our whole community, we're asking everybody. We're even asking our staff every day to do the screening, to do the temperature check. But if you are not sure, or you're not feeling well, it's okay to stay home. Go ahead and engage in the learning through your Chromebook, through your device, because we really do. We want to make sure that we want to see your students 100%, but we want to make sure that we can stay open and keep serving students in a face-to-face capacity. So just take those precautions and make sure that you're checking in with your kid every day, and doing your best to keep you and your family, as well as the whole community, safe. So we do have another video here that we're going to show, and this will be the only other video from this presentation that we show. The rest of the linked videos, like Mrs. Richardson said, we're going to encourage you to go ahead and watch on your own.
It's back to school time, and time for Ohio students to rise up. Just remember, back up, mask up, wash up. Back up. Try to stay 6 feet away from others, at the bus, at lunch, when playing, and especially indoors. Mask up. Covering your nose and mouth with a face covering helps prevent germs from getting on people close by. Wash up. Wash your hands often and for about 20 seconds. You did it. See, school's going to be a breeze. Just remember, back up, mask up, wash up.
Masks are required by OHSAA at all our athletic events as well. So students are going to be asked when they are at the bus stop to have their mask on and wear a mask while seated on the bus coming to school. From there, when we enter the building, students will keep their masks on all day. We are giving teachers the opportunity to take students outside to socially distance and have a mask break, but that is going to be up to the teacher's discretion in regards to when they can take students outside, and that obviously will be weather permitting. The masks cannot have any design on it that would violate our school dress code policy set forth by the Board of Education. We are allowing students to wear gaiters, so the mask needs to cover from the bridge of the nose to under the chin and fit around the face. Any mask that, if a student brings a mask to school, and let's say that it's one of the surgical paper masks and the loop breaks, we do have some extra face masks, disposable face masks for students to use. However, the school is not providing we're not giving masks out to students. We did put that on the supply list, that they should have a mask for school, and the we're asking that if they have a spare, to put a spare in their book bag, so that they have a spare on them at all times in case that mask gets dirty or gets wet or broken.
So we know that, everybody has seen the pictures of some other schools that opened a little earlier and the hallways were crowded. So we want to talk about social distancing just a little bit and what that's going to look like inside the school. Pre-COVID, or prior to the shutdown last year at Ridgeview, we had over 940 students in the building. It's not a secret, Ridgeview is crowded. So this year, because of our VLA enrollment and students who have selected to go online for the entire year, our student enrollment is about 740. And then with the cohorts, you're going to cut that roughly in half. And so we've created a lot of space between students who are going to be attending virtually and then only having half of the students at a time. In addition to that, we're also going to be staggering our transition bells. So not all of the students will change classes at the same time. And also, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but students aren't going to be using a locker. They'll be able to carry all their stuff in a book bag. So hallway transitions should be very, very efficient, going from one place to the other place and not stopping along the way, or not going out of your way to get to your locker and get to your next location. We do have one-way hallways. We actually had one-way hallways at Ridgeview before because, like I said, we had over 940 students in the building last year. But we have some hallways that are one-way, and we know that sometimes that means you're going to walk a little bit more, get a few additional steps in. But that's another strategy that we use to reduce congestion in the hallway, in addition to staggering the bells.
So the biggest thing with the one-way hallway and the two-way hallway traffic, when we originally mailed home schedules, we did send home a map that had arrows on it to indicate which hallways were one-way and which hallways were two-way. But we have also posted signs in the hallways. As you can see, this sign here, "Be polite and stay on the right," are posted in our two-way hallways. And so we are asking students, if you are to stay to the right of the direction that you're going, so that we don't have students bumping into each other face to face.
All right. We also want to talk just a minute here about restrooms and drinking fountains. In our restrooms, we're asking that there's no more than 4 people in a restroom at a time, and if the restroom is full, meaning there's already 4 people in there, we're going to have students waiting in the hallway in a socially distanced stance. Now, there should not be, the hall passes and things like that are very, very limited. There should not be a lot of students in the hallway going to the restroom at the same time. And there are multiple restrooms throughout the building in each area or each wing of the building. And you'll kind of see the way the building is laid out when we get to the tour. So it should be fairly simple to keep the number of students down in the restroom area. And we have some of our staff here demonstrating what that would look like to socially distance while waiting to go in. We also have installed hand sanitizer stations inside each and every single classroom, as well as in the cafeteria. So in addition to being able to wash your hands at the restroom, there's hand sanitizer stations spread throughout the building. And those will be monitored daily throughout the day by our custodians to make sure that hand sanitizer is available. And then as far as drinking fountains go, the drinking fountains themselves have been turned off, and we have installed automatic bottle filling stations. This is one of the reasons why we added a non-glass water bottle to the school supply list this year. Actually, I'm really excited about this change and would have been excited about it even without the current situation Having a water bottle means students don't need to leave the classroom to get a drink of water. It also means that, it's right there, and they don't interrupt learning asking to go to the drinking fountain as well. Now, not all of our bottle filling stations have arrived to be installed. So currently we do have the permanent bottle filling station that you're looking at there installed. We also have a temporary water bottle filling station in another area while we wait on the rest of them to come in.
We do also have a supply of bottled water that we can also pass out to students if needed. If we are looking at the cafeteria, one of the things that we have done in the cafeteria is we have limited the amount of students who can sit per table. So with the cohorts, on average, we have no more than 70 students in a lunch period. We have 30 tables in the lunchroom with 3 seats per table. So students will be able to spread out and socially distance while eating their lunch. With that, when students arrive to the cafeteria, they are going to, the first week that they're there, they're going to choose their seat. And then we will take and make a seating chart. That will be your student's seat for this first semester. And then when we start the new semester, when we come back from winter break, we will allow students, if they would like to change their table and seat, they can change their table and seat. However, there is no adding additional students to the cafeteria table. I know that sometimes 7th and 8th graders try to add extra seats to the table, but this year we're not doing that. So it's no more than 3 students per table. When you arrive to your table will be dismissed to go into the cafeteria line. So you do need to wait for the duty aides and the cafeteria workers to dismiss you if you are buying your lunch. One of the things that is new this year for buying the lunch, and actually I have one in my hand here, I'm going to show this to you in just a second. We are supplying students with barcoded cards. Eventually, once we get pictures taken, it will be their student ID will have a barcode on it. And I'm trying to cover up this student's information, so bear in mind here. They will receive a card that looks like this, that will have their name, their grade, Ridgeview Junior High, and their student identification number. And when they walk into the cafeteria, there is a scanner at the end where the keypad is. It has the keypad on it, but there is an actual scanner. So students on the first day during pall time are going to receive a lanyard with a plastic kind of Ziploc-ish cover for them to put their ID or for them to put their card in for lunch. So after students have their pictures taken and they get their student ID with their picture on it, they will have 2 versions. So they will have this version that they can hold on to and their student ID that they can use for lunch in the cafeteria. The cafeteria is asking parents to take advantage of the My Payments Plus, where you can load money onto your student's account from the website. Then that way there is no cash being exchanged through the lunch line, and it will make it easier for students. You can actually have it set up so that it sends you a reminder when your students get low to refill their lunch card. So, did I miss anything on that, Mr. Smith?
I think that's pretty good. All right. Like I said, we are going to be staggering our transitions with the bells. So not all of the students will be in the hallway at the same time. And again, when we look at the video tour, you'll be able to see how expansive the hallways are. Ridgeview is a very spread out building to begin with. Our classes and our hallways are organized by the 100 area, the 200 area, and the 300 area. So when you split the classrooms in half that are changing and then spread that out throughout the building, that really should cut down on hallway traffic. In years past, students have taken an extra lap in the hallway to either meet up with friends or to burn off some extra energy. That is going to be one thing that we very, very strongly discourage this year as we're trying to make sure that our hallways aren't crowded. So students will be going from point A to point B, and they're going to keep their things with them in their book bags. It's that ID card for the cafeteria can just go right in the book bag. Students won't have to wear that necessarily. And then since their book bag is going to go to lunch with them, they'll always have it right there.
One of the things that we didn't talk about on here is our desk sanitation. So we do have a cleaner. It has a 45-second dwell time, which means that it will sit on the desk or the area that it's sprayed for 45 seconds. And within 45 seconds, it kills all viruses. It kills the COVID virus, norovirus, and many others, influenza as well. So teachers will be spraying the desks at the end of the period and then wiping them off before students come into the classroom. The next round of students come into the classroom. So we are sanitizing high touch areas such as the desks and the chairs, the pencil sharpeners, door handles, restrooms, quite frequently. So just to reiterate, all of our staff have that in their classrooms, along with the hand sanitizing stations in the classrooms, to make sure that we're doing our part in keeping our kids healthy. Oh, buses. As I said before, when if your student is arriving via the bus, please make sure that they have their mask ready. When they get on the bus, they do need to wear their mask. If they come to the bus stop and they do not have a mask, the bus driver will give them one of the paper kind of surgical blue masks, and they are expected to wear it. So please, please, please reiterate. I know there are some students on here, but you need to wear the mask. This is not something that we can mess around with. We are asking you to wear the mask at all times. Again, teachers will be we'll have the possibility of giving you mask breaks, but that's at the teacher's discretion, not at yours. So please make sure, in order to keep everyone, staff, students, families healthy, we do need to make sure that we follow all of these safety guidelines, so that hopefully we'll be able to come back face to face, full time. That's the goal. So if we can keep doing the things that we need to do to stay safe now, hopefully we'll be able to hit that goal. The dismissals from the bus are staggered. So there will be an entrance specifically for 8th grade bus drivers or bus riders, 7th grade bus riders, 7th grade parent drop-off or walkers, 8th grade parent drop-off or walkers. So please make sure that you are going into the door that you have been assigned.
Okay, so Mrs. Richardson and I realized that, the big questions, one of the big questions is, what does the inside of the school look like, especially for our incoming 7th graders who have not been in the building. And so we do have a tour for you set up. So we're going to go ahead and click this tour, and you'll be able to go through the hallway as if you are an 8th grader coming in from the bus, and then as a 7th grader coming in from the bus, you'll get to see a lot of your teachers. So we hope you enjoy. We know that for many of you, what the school looks like and how their class will find their classes is a major concern. So let's go ahead and step inside the building and take a tour. We'll begin with the 8th graders who get off the bus. Coming in the building, our 8th grade students will enter through door Y. Our 8th grade classrooms are organized by department. So on the right, we have Mr. Fisher, Mr. Wood, and Mrs. Hoffman, who teaches math. And on the left, we have Mrs. Cool and Mrs. Spencer's science classrooms. As we head down the hall, we'll go by Mrs. Bell, who teaches math, and Mrs. Geringer, who teaches English. Hello, ladies. As we head down the hall, here on the right, we will have Mr. Casamilio and Mrs. Culp, who share a room, next to Mrs. Yulbrick, who teaches English. Turning around, we've got Mr. Monholland and Mr. James, two more English teachers on the left. Mr. Niederman and Mrs. Fernie teach 8th grade social studies along with Mr. Butch down here on the corner. While we're waiting for some of our additional bottle filling stations to come in, we do have temporary water bottle filling stations as well. We're going to head back up this hallway. We have Miss Garston on the right, who teaches our EL students. And more science rooms on the left. We have Mr. Ellis and Mr. Hanson. And this brings us back up to the front of the building. Going around this corner will take students down towards the cafeteria, the office, and many of their electives. Now let's take a look at how our 7th graders will enter from the bus. 7th grade students will enter through door Z. And once they come in door Z, they will immediately turn to the left and head down the front hallway. This will take them past Team B, as well as past Mr. Goche, who is our medical detectives teacher and a huge hockey fan. Hello, Team B. Hello, Mr. Goche. Heading down this hallway will also take you to the main office and towards the clinic and cafeteria. Down here on the left, we have our triage room. And this is the door for the well clinic. Hello, Mrs. Widener. Here's our media center. Oh, look, there's Mrs. Markle. Now we're heading into the area where Team C has their classrooms. Hi, Team C. Coming through these doors will take you to the commons area, to the cafeteria, and to our PE and other electives. Hi, Mr. Wiemet. Hi, Miss Osman. Inside the cafeteria, we have tables set up that are socially distanced with no more than 3 students per table. Our PE students will be able to spread out in both the main gym and the auxiliary gym. I'm going to head back through the commons here. As we turn down this hallway, we'll see our health room. And then we'll continue on down the hallway. If we keep going all the way to the end of this hallway, we will find our choir room, which is also where Mrs. Neff will teach personal development and music appreciation. Now we'll enter the back hallway, where we have Mrs. White, who teaches speech, Mr. Hartley, who does automation and robotics, as well as our instructional coaches area. Hey, Mrs. Harmon, good to see you. This is our tech hallway. Our tech hallway has both of our art classes with Mrs. Knox and the Project Lead the Way courses taught by Mrs. Honeycutt. Hi, Mrs. Maynard. Hi, Mrs. Boham. Now we're going to move into Team A, which includes Mr. Cole, Mr. Stubbs, Mrs. Wallach, and Mrs. Spencer. We also have Mrs. Wolf in this hallway. Hey, Mrs. Wolf. Hey, Mrs. Wallach. Room 217 is used for E&I support. Some classrooms were not able to be with their team, so Mr. Boynton is down this hall and Mrs. Spencer is straight ahead and to the right. There were a few classrooms that were not included in the tour. Some of our classes like Spanish and special education rooms and other areas like the band room just didn't fit in this video, but don't worry. We have plenty of friendly teachers and staff who will help you find your way. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right, so in addition to walking the hallways, we wanted to take a advantage of having you here and show you what some of the inside of our classrooms look like as we socially distance our students. So we have a couple of different strategies here to point out. In the science room in the lower right-hand corner, we have just one chair per table. Another one of our classrooms here on the bottom left corner, the teacher actually has 2 desks front to back, but there's only a chair at the back desk. So that creates extra distance between the students in the rows. And then the picture in the middle on the top, that's another one of our English classrooms. And there the desks are side by side, but only one of the desks has a chair. So not only do the extra desks help create some additional space in between our students, but it also gives our students a place to put their backpack or their items as they get settled in and ready to learn.
Okay, so some questions that we have been receiving. First of all, thank you for all of the questions that have come to us through the Google form that we sent out on the newsletter on Friday. Some of those questions regard what does the student day look like when they are face-to-face, and what does it look like when they are virtual? So really quickly, when a student comes face-to-face, they will be following the bell schedule, going to their classes Monday and Tuesday. But on the virtual days, there is not a specific time that they need to log in to do their work. Students will be taking attendance by logging into Infinite Campus themselves, and then they will go into their Google Classroom and complete the virtual work. The virtual work is not always going to be a daily assignment, depending on how the teachers have structured their instruction. Some of those may be multiple day assignments, just like we would if we were fully face-to-face, where students may have multiple days to work on some pieces. But it is very, very important that students set up a schedule for the days that they are virtual. They will need to log into Infinite Campus. They will need to take their attendance. They will need to go through each of their Google Classrooms to see what items they need to complete during their virtual learning days. Progress towards completing and doing those assignments are being used. So this is not like the spring, not at all. The expectation is students are using the virtual days when they are home to work on their virtual assignments, so that when they come back to their face-to-face days, teachers have things planned for students to do based upon what they need to accomplish. So students, please do not think that this is we're not using that same grading system from the spring. You are getting letter grades, so meaning the quality of work that you do will indicate what type of grade you get in the class. This is not effort-based grades. It is about the quality of the work.
I do see a question that just popped up about my student is supposed to be a web leader this year. Is that still happening? The answer is yes. We actually have web leaders that are participating in our virtual learning academy, as well as web leaders that will be participating in the hybrid model. So if your student was supposed to be a web leader as an incoming 8th grader to help some of our 7th graders fit in, there will still be some web-based activities.
The question about classroom instruction, there will not be synchronous learning on virtual days. Synchronous meaning that the teacher is directly linked up with students. Teachers could have videos of them explaining a subject that students will have to watch, but no, as cohort A is in session, cohort B is working on virtual. So that teacher is going to be interacting with the students who are in the building at that time. And the same can be said on the flip side of that. When students are face-to-face Thursday, Friday, their teachers are working with those students. So the cohort A kids will be working asynchronously, meaning not with a teacher face-to-face. Our Wednesdays are set up that teachers will have office hours and check-ins with students. So students, it is of the utmost importance. You need to be checking your Google Mail, your Gmail account daily. Teachers may be setting up times to meet with you. You are expected to be in those meetings when teachers need to see you. If something pops up and you can't make it, maybe you have a doctor's appointment that day because you're virtual, so your parents scheduled the doctor's appointment for the day that you're virtual. You need to let your teacher know that you can't make it, and then the two of you will come up with a different time to meet face-to-face. But it is of the utmost importance that you check your email for invitations to Google Meets when your teachers need to reach out to you during any of that virtual time.
I do want to just add that some of our teachers are teaching in the Virtual Learning Academy full-time, and some of them are teaching in the Virtual Learning Academy for only a period or two. And so this primarily affects our elective classes. So if you have health, for example, your health teacher is working with students in both the face-to-face model and their hybrid learning, as well as they will have a period or two where they are doing VLA classes. So if you're a VLA student, you do need to pay attention to the time that is on your schedule as far as what period, because that will be when your health teacher would be available to ask questions or to be in a Google Meet with. I also saw a question on here about parent drop-off and parent pickup. So the parking lot that is closest to Pickerington High School Central is the bus lot. So parents stay away from the bus lot. The other lot is for our parent drop-off and parent pickup, okay? Now we are not opening the doors to the building prior to 7 o'clock. So do know that we will not have the ability to let students in. So we're asking that they stay in the vehicle with you until 7 o'clock when they can come in. Our 8th graders are going to come in the main entrance, and the 7th graders are going to go in the athletic entrance down by the cafeteria. And so they will be coming in and going to their respective areas as well.
Todd, you posted a question about safety while students are in the hallways in between classes. Teachers will be monitoring the hallways. So teachers are, after they have when the dismissal bell for the purple group rings, those teachers will follow their students outside into the hallway, and they will be monitoring the hallway. When the bell for the white, purple, we have purple and white because we're purple and white. When the white bell rings, then those teachers will come out into the hallway as well. So the teachers will be monitoring the hallways, and they will be asking students to maintain social distance. Social distance in the hallway are 2 tiles. So if you're in the main hallway, you should not be closer than 2 tiles to the person in front of you. So just to give you kind of a visual there, that will be your safe social distance in the hallway.
All right. There was a question about attendance and working on virtual days. So the district actually put out a video today that shows you exactly how to go into your student portal in Infinite Campus and check off the attendance for the day. And since you have multiple classes, you will actually have to check off your attendance for each class. The good news is you can do that you have to go into each period, but you can do it all at the same time. So you don't have to remember every 45 minutes to go back into Infinite Campus and check off your attendance. So the work is a little bit, you can work whenever it's best for you. Mrs. Richardson already pointed out that it's really best for all of us, even adults, to have a routine and a schedule. So because we're going to expect you to be at school and on time when the bell rings for first period at 7:15, it's probably a good idea that you continue to get up even on your virtual days so that you're setting yourself up for success in the days that you're there face to face. But you can work at your own pace. You can work, on your virtual day. You could choose to do a larger block of English if there's, a larger set of assignments rather than breaking it up into one smaller assignment each day. You could take that in a longer chunk and then maybe work on math in a longer chunk later in the day. That part is completely up to you, but you do have to log in and do your attendance each and every single day.
There is a question about how do we know it is safe to go to school and that the staff and teachers do not have symptoms of the virus. This is where we are trusting you as the community to report appropriately and keep your students home. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to monitor that, and so there's not a Google sheet for people to fill in if they have symptoms. This is why I cannot stress enough that I am very dependent upon our families to treat this appropriately and take precautions as necessary, because we can't play around with this. I have to trust that all of you are doing your part by taking your students' temperature. Our staff is taking their temperature before they leave their house, and they just to be honest, they have my phone number and they are supposed to call me if any of those symptoms are being present, so that we can get a substitute or we can get another person to cover their classes, because we do not want people coming in if they're feeling under the weather at all. Yes, Chromebooks will be provided. If you are new to the district, the Chromebook pickup was earlier this week. However, we are still working on getting students who are new to the district their Chromebooks. Some have been delivered to the school. I know that my secretaries have been calling parents about possibly coming to get those devices. However, we have about 8 to 10 students enrolling kind of on a daily basis. So as quickly as we're getting people in, we're filling out the paperwork we need to make sure that everybody has the supplies they need to get started.
I want to address a question from the Google form that we sent out earlier that we haven't gotten to yet. Mm-hmm. That involves locker rooms. Mm-hmm. So our student athletes that are in cohort A will have access to put their athletic gear for practice in the team locker room prior to school starting. And then they would have access to that same locker room to get their athletic gear and to change and be ready for practice after school. If you are in cohort B, the same would be true for you on the days that you are coming face to face. If you are in cohort B though, and it is a Monday or Tuesday, you do not have access to the locker rooms. Our student athletes are not being permitted to keep their athletic gear in the locker room. So like when practice is done, they're taking their stuff back home with them. Our students who have physical education or fitness and nutrition on their schedule, you will not be changing in the PE locker rooms. Okay, so you are going to need to come to school dressed in a way that you can appropriately interact in your physical education or your fitness and nutrition course. Okay, Locker rooms are it's one area that there's too many touch points for us to be able to clean effectively if we have students going in and out multiple times during the day and changing their clothes. So our PE teachers are aware of these guidelines, and so they are adapting, some of their own activities and things like that to take into consideration that students aren't going to be able to change. But if you have PE on your schedule during first trimester or during second trimester, you might want to either plan on those 2 days that you're in school, wear a set of shoes that you can be athletic in, or maybe find a pair of shoes that you can throw in your bag to bring with you.
Will students need extra supplies for certain classes? No, the supply list that we sent out, teachers were made aware that these are the only supplies that we are asking our families to purchase this year. We are trying to be as succinct and as effective as we can be, knowing that in the past, we've had some rather large lists, and I just don't feel that that's appropriate at this time. So instead of having, multiple color highlighters, we put the colored pencils on there so students could use colored pencils to change colors if they need to highlight things. We're trying to be very cognizant of using the supplies that we're asking students to bring in. I saw another one about masks. When we say that masks have to follow the dress code, basically let's make sure that there are no sexual innuendos, no hate speech, things along those lines, nothing inappropriate. So they can be patterned, like my mask today, bunny rabbits. But, so it can have a pattern on it. There is not really a limitation other than let's just be cognizant that we need to make sure that our masks do follow that part of the dress code.
So band instruments, you'll be able to put those in the band room. When you come in, you won't have to carry your tuba or your French horn or whatever for the entire day. We'll make sure that is available as well. As far as school supplies, there is the list on the school website. I saw that question come up a few times. Make sure that you visit the school website and school supply list. A lot of the things that we're talking about tonight are on that back to school information page that I showed you earlier.
There's a link again. So there's the link as well. Again, school time. So for those of you who are dropping your students off or picking them up, first bell rings at 7:15. That means they need to be in their paw time at 7:15. We open the doors at 7. Dismissal is at 2:10. So again, it's going to be a staggered dismissal. So some students may not be out until about 2:12, 2:13, but we try to get the buses rolling at 2:15. So if that helps, I hope that helps out.
And I saw a comment, correct, students are not sharing supplies. So, in years past, a teacher would have a supply of markers or a supply of colored pencils or highlighters. And as students came in, if they needed one and didn't have one, they would just pass out from what the teacher had on hand. We are not doing shared common supplies this year, just as a way of being able to reduce the number of places that we need to be cleaning and sanitizing throughout the day. I
will say that some teachers have a stash of like extra pencils to be used. Some classes like art, we can't say there will be no shared supplies. Classes like art will have supplies. We are doing our best to make sure that students have their own, or that a student will have their own for that period, and then they will be sanitized before they can possibly be used again. So there are a few cases like automation and robotics where we're building robots. A student will have their robot kit, but then once they tear their robot down, it will be sanitized for the next project. So just being mindful that in normal classrooms, no, we are asking teachers to limit that shared supply piece as much as they can, but they will have, if a student forgets a pencil, they will have an extra that a student can use. Some are putting up a system of oops, I forgot. And then there's a can for them to put in used so that they can disinfect those and put those away so that students do not touch them again.
For bus information, you really need to go to the transportation page and get the information from Peterman. They would have on their website what time your student needs to be at the bus stop, and what bus number, things like that.
Let me see if I can find that really quick for you. It is. Here we go. This is coming from our actual news page. So I am going to copy this and put this in the stream for you. Are we allowed hoodies? Are we allowed to wear them? No hats, no hoods. Can you wear a hooded sweatshirt? Yes, but no hats and no hoods up. Do you have to worry about sneezing or coughing? Some students have allergies, so we do know that that will occur every once in a while. However, if it is something that is consistent, we are going to ask you to, we are probably going to escort you down to the triage area. That is one thing, parents, that I would like you to know. We are planning, if a student is showing any sort of ill symptoms, someone will escort them to the triage area for them to be checked out by the nurse. We will not let them walk in the hallways by themselves. This way we can also monitor contact, making sure that other students are not coming into contact with somebody who may have some ill symptoms, whether that be COVID ill symptoms or, you know, just nauseous flu-like symptoms.
So this, our open house tonight is actually being recorded, and so this will be posted. It'll be available in our Friday newsletter that goes home. The link to this will be in that newsletter. So for the people who are asking, can we send links? Can we push this out? The answer is yes. We've already planned to do that, and so we'll be getting this information home to you in Friday's newsletter.
Okay, well, it is 7:31. We do not want to take up all of your night. We do know that you may have some more questions, so please feel free to reach out to us through email. But first, please double check our Ridgeview webpage that has some of that information. Also, like Mr. Smith said, on Friday, our newsletter is going out. We post it on our Facebook page. Usually I retweet it or I tweet it out on Twitter. And it also will be sent through Infinite Campus Messenger. So please, please, please make sure that you did not unsubscribe to Infinite Campus. When you log into your parent portal, please make sure that you're getting those emails, because that is the primary way that we communicate with you beyond our social media accounts. Okay.
Mrs. Richardson, I am going to show them just the school page here real quick.
Perfect.
So they can see where some of this is.
I'm sorry.
There
we go.
Okay, so if you come to the Ridgeview page, and then come over to our school, and this drop down comes down, see the back to school supply list and other information at Ridgeview. Go ahead and click on that. So we have information from the district here in this area, but if you scroll down, the parent information hub that we have referenced tonight that has links to the presentations that we have shared, click on this and you'll be able to access this page that Mr. Steele put together for us. The presentation that had information about all the different areas in the building is right here. These are the previous videos that we have sent home in our newsletters. And then if you scroll down, we have information about our signage, the mask policy, the parent university from the district is linked here. There is information about how you submit. There's a video here on submitting attendance on your virtual days, or if you're a VLA student full-time, this will show you how to submit your attendance each day. Mr. Seymour put out information about getting a device if you're new to the district or haven't picked one up and don't have one, or how to get help with your device if you need to submit to get your password reset to get into your device, or if you're having an issue with your Chromebook. And then the information from the individual teams is here. Okay, so that's all linked from our homepage. Again, I'll take you there one more time so you can see the process. But once you're at Ridgeview's website, go to our school, and back down here to the back to school supply list and other information at Ridgeview. And then you can find a wealth of information here. So hopefully that will help answer any questions that either we missed, or maybe you didn't hear quite, maybe you weren't here logged in right when we got started. So if there's anything that you missed, it's all right here.
Okay. All right. Again, thank you, Tiger families. We cannot wait to see some of your faces on Monday and the rest of your faces on Thursday. If any of you are our full-time VLA students, please watch your inbox. We are sending s'mores for our VLA students. They are combined with Lakeview, so it is one junior high VLA. So be on the lookout for that, and can't wait to see you. Bye, guys.